Hey, what's up, everybody? Listen, if you have not heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Number one, it's free. Yeah, I got your attention now, right? Number two, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Number three, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Number four, you can make money from your podcast. That's right. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum viewership. Number five, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So right now, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
What's up,
Blog
everybody?
Talk Radio.
What's up, everybody? I'm laughing because I was talking during the Blog Talk Radio intro, but what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the What Now podcast. My name is Clifton Pettyjohn. For the purposes of this podcast, you can call me Cliff, all right? You already know, those who have listened to episode 1, this podcast was not planned at all. I'm not a very spontaneous person, so for me to do something spontaneous, it shows that I'm continuing to live life outside of my comfort zone. Why? Because I believe that purpose is only found, or we only find purpose within ourselves when we step outside of that zone that has become our comfort zone. And even once we step out of there, sometimes after the comfort zone is a fear zone. So then you have to step past that fear zone. But we're not talking about that on tonight, all right? We are not talking about that at all on tonight. I want to thank you for those who listened to the first episode, and to those of you that are listening now. I hope that you will continue to listen as I continue to create purposeful content, okay? So here we go. Some of you are watching or listening because you saw the title, all right? So I want to do my disclaimer now. I don't have a long time, so I'm going to rush through my disclaimer. This is not, these episodes talking about my marriage and my divorce will not be a bashing session at all. The man that I married was one of the greatest men that I know to this day. I still, have love for him. And I'm going to explain all of that, throughout the conversation. But this is not a bashing in any way, shape, or form. This is me getting my story out. Sometimes we can't move past certain things because we haven't been able to get it out. And now I'm at a space in my life where I can finally get it all out. I can get everything out. Why? Because I'm past the bitterness, I'm past the anger, I'm past the resentment, I'm past all of those things. And I'm not saying that all of those things were directed towards him. Many of those things were directed towards myself. Anybody that's been through a divorce, you understand, and even been married, you understand, and you may not have, went through your divorce yet, but you're contemplating divorce. You understand that there are things that a divorce will do to you. Now I'm talking to those that are going through a divorce. I'm sorry, that have been through a divorce. Divorce can sometimes rip you apart, because divorce, to me, and I've heard somebody else say this, is kind of equivalent to death, because now what you built with that person is now dying. And the part of you that was connected to them, and if you had put your all in it, it's being ripped apart. Now, with many times, it can be slowly ripped apart, or you can face a reality all at once and feel that thing ripped apart, you know, all at one time. And I don't know what everybody else's process is, but my dealing with divorce was not good at all. I worked hard publicly to show that I dealt with it well, and even the person that I was married to thought that I was handling the divorce in a manner like I just didn't care. But I think the reality was, and I've expressed that to him before as well, I just had, I guess I went through all of the things that embody a divorce before we actually got divorced. Like I actually saw it coming, so I started preparing for it. Um, but I think before we can go into the marriage and go into the divorce, I kind of have to talk about my coming out story. And the reason why is because that's a major part, transitioning into this. Now, here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to give you my whole coming out story. Why? Because these episodes are only 15 minutes long, and 15 minutes go by fast. I'm just going to give you, a synopsis of it. All right. As far as how long did I know I was gay, honestly, since I was a kid, I knew that I had affection towards, the male gender. Um, I always knew it. However, because it was such a stigma and such a leopardess um, situation in my culture and in my environment, I had no one to talk to about it. So I suppressed those feelings. I dated females, and none of those relationships could be successful because my heart and my being were never really fully in those things. I did it because I felt like that's what I had to do, and I did it because I was told that's what I was supposed to do. I'm not saying I wasn't attracted to those young ladies; they were beautiful. However, I understood that that's not what I desire. That's not, where my affection is towards. But also, I grew up in ministry, so I understood, if I'm gay, I'm going to hell, and I didn't want to go to hell. So, I've been one that's prayed uh, for God to take this away from me. I've gotten prayer, I've fasted, I've made this confession and that confession. I've been um, people. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say this the right way. Okay. There were people who I believe they thought they were doing best for me. Um, were trying to force me to date females. I think they felt as if I date females, I would get that out of my system. I mean, even to the point where I was told that some of the responsibilities that I had would be taken from me if I hadn't dated a female. Um, so I went through a lot of different things with the situation being in ministry. I do want to say some things because I'm taking this time to clear up some things too. There were people that were very surprised when I came out. However, there are people that did know that I had affection towards, the same sex. Um, when I was 19 years old, I joined a certain ministry, and I did not want to do any work in that ministry.
What's up, everybody? My name is Cliff, and you are listening to the What Now Podcast. That's right, the What Now Podcast, where we, through conversation, discuss ways that we can effectively address life's most difficult moments. So sit back, relax, and enjoy tonight's episode.
Ministry. Before I did any work in that ministry, I explained to them what I was wrestling with at the time, or quote unquote struggling with. Um, at the time, I explained it to them, in full details. We had conversations about it over the years. It was something that was, told I could talk to them. However, I not to tell anybody else. That's how it was kind of. That's not how it kind of was handled. That's how it was handled. Um, However, the whole time, throughout my 20s, as I was attempting to find myself, um, in a very passive way, to be honest with you. It plagued me hard, man. It really plagued me hard. And I want to clear up another thing. I was not in the closet in the sense of I dated men while professing to be straight. I never did that. The only man that I dated before I came out was the man that I married. He was the first man that I ever dated or did anything with. So I just want to clear that up because I've heard a lot of stuff about me, and I'm going to say this. Sometimes you hear stories about you and you have to laugh. And here's my response to a lot of the stories I hear about myself. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm at a place in life where I'm going to tell the truth on myself even when it hurts me. I haven't always been there, to be honest. I have not always been there. I'll tell you, I was passive. I was a punk. I ran from confrontation, all of those things. Coming out helped me mature and become a man. And it's funny to me because a lot of people look at it when you come out as you are less of a man, but me coming out made me the man that I am today. You feel me? Not perfect, still got a lot of work to do, but I'm proud of who I am and who I'm becoming. Okay? Now, yeah, I was saying all that to say, I hear some stuff that I've done, and I've told people this before when people have asked me. And I tell people, my life, I'm an open book. Come to me and ask me. There's no better person to ask anything about me than me. But, a lot of times, a lot of people won't come to you because they honestly don't want the truth because sometimes the truth isn't as funny, or glamorous as a lie is, okay? So I just wish I was in some of the encounters that some of the people said that I had because they seem so good. They seem so exciting. Like I'm sitting thinking, man, I missed out on this. Like that was a great story. I would have loved to actually have been a part of that. All right, so now let's move on, okay? So, through my 20s, as I said, also in my 20s, if you watch any of my videos or hear me speak, I always talk about, the decision I made that resulted in a felony. I tell anybody you want to know what it is, come talk to me. I don't mind talking about it. I don't hide it. It is a part of who I am, and it helped make me who I am today. I say that, I felt bad about what I did. I wish I had not have done what I did. However, at the same time, I have to say that it kind of pushed me into purpose, to be real about it. So I'm going through all of those things. I lost my mother, who was my backbone, that was my best friend. That's the one I could go to about anything, within my 20s. And, I've done people wrong. I've been done wrong. I made a lot of stupid decisions. I isolated myself, from people that really cared about me. And sometimes I embraced people that I shouldn't have embraced, so that was all a part of the learning process. But here we go, skip forward to 30 or 31. I can't remember if it was 30 or 31. So now here I'm at a crossroad in life. I end up meeting this young man, and we start having conversation. Then we start, just chilling and hanging out together. And it starts to evolve into something. And like for the first time in my life, I'm like, yo, you need to be happy. Like real talk, you need to be happy because you are not living your life. You're just existing. You are going through the emotions. You're like a zombie. You're doing the same thing on a daily basis. And so I ended up, we ended up talking and, progressing through that. Now, when we first started talking, I was not out. But I will say, I think it was like 2 months into it was when I finally made the decision to come out. That decision was very unpopular. As I said, I grew up around church culture. And as I said, it was looked down upon. It's almost as if you have leprosy, honestly. It's gotten better over time, but I remember in the area that we lived in, it was not an easy situation. And maybe one day I'll go into full details about that. But I just wanted to lay that foundation. My life changed in an instant because I went from being quote unquote loved and embraced and being this great person to now waking up to me. I mean, y'all, if I saved a text message, and I'm not exaggerating anything, I got hateful text messages from those who were naming the name of Christ. Now, I did not expect people to embrace me, but I did expect people to still love me. And that's another thing that's a misconception. I don't need you to agree with who I am. I don't need you to accept who I am. I just need you to realize that my life is bigger than that. And if you can realize my life is bigger than that, then we can exist together. That's the whole point with me. Now, there may be some who want you to embrace who they are and accept it. I don't care about none of that, but that's the foundation of it. And I'm running out of time, so I guess we're not going to get to the marriage and the divorce today, but I wanted to lay the foundation so you guys can kind of understand how we get to where we are now. A lot of people thought he brainwashed me. A lot of people said the enemy was using him. It's amazing what people will come up with when you finally find your own strength to stand in what they were encouraging you to stand in, and that is what you believe. Be blessed.
Can you identify any areas in your life where stagnation is manifesting? Now, I know some of you might say, no, I can't. Well, I want us to look at stagnation for what it really is. Some people have identified stagnation as something that's not growing or that's not producing. I don't believe that's stagnation. To me, stagnation can also be that yes, we're growing, yes, we're producing. However, we're growing and producing in a manner that's disrespectful to the purpose and the greatness that resides inside of us. And listen, we all have areas where we can identify that we could be doing a lot better in. There's greater potential in those areas than we are experiencing. And guess what? I have a tool that will help you begin to experience transformation in those areas of stagnation in your life. And that tool is called From Stagnation to Transformation. That's right. That is my book, From Stagnation to Transformation. So I want you to head over to my website, www.cliftonpettyjohn.com. I want you to hit there. I want you to hit the transformation tab. There you're going to find a free preview of my book. That's right, a free preview of my book. And I promise you, after you read the preview, you're going to want to invest in your personal transformation through purchasing the book. So again, hit over there, purchase the book. Let me know you purchased it. Here's what I always say, guys. If you purchase the book, you read the book, you apply the principles in your life, and yet you still are stagnant in the areas that you are applying them to, and you're not experiencing any transformation, and you can prove to me that you have applied these principles, I will give you a 100% refund. That's right, a 100% refund. Why? Because I believe in the application of the principles that are outlined in this book. So again, visit www.cliftonpettyjohn.com and purchase your copy of From Stagnation to Transformation.